Hello, people. Oh, that was nice. I like that song. I'd like to welcome everybody to the third episode of the Backyardi'Yinz, the Pittsburgh Backyard Wrestling Podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
Hello.
What's up? As you can tell, we got some new people in here finally. It only took us 2 episodes to get off of Steve and JP, but we have finally reached the A-team, as I like to call them. Over here across the room from me, we have the heart of NWW Pittsburgh. If it wasn't for him, we would all still suck. We have Ed Anderson. Say hi to them.
Red?
Hello. Thank you.
Hello. What was your wrestling name, Ed?
Hack Edgeman.
Hack motherfucking Edgeman. Is that not a top 1 name of all time?
I don't know what it means, but it is the best name.
So how did you get it?
All right. Well, we both love the Insane Clown Posse.
Right.
And I don't remember how it actually began, but I think it was just a joke.
It was you hated it.
Yeah.
I think Quinn showed me Big Money Hustlers, which we'll get to Quinn in a second. He's not going to talk
and
until
the
I introduce
character's
him.
name was Hack Benjamin.
And he was Hack Benjamin.
And his character was like a hitman,
A hitman, yeah, right. And so you were trying to come up with a wrestling name, and the first thing you said, I'm trying to do something with the name Sick. And I'm like, too late, buddy. Like, SIC's already me. Get fucked.
Oh, fuck.
And so I started saying, you should just go by Hack fucking Edgeman. And you're like, no, that name's fucking stupid. I'm never going to use it. And I just decided, essentially, I'm rolling on this. I'm going to do it until he likes it. And it ended up being incredible.
Yeah.
Nobody has that name.
And later on, it basically just became Hack.
Hack, right? Yeah.
That's amazing.
Across the room from
that
Hack
you can
Edgeman.
hate the name and then love it.
Yeah, for
That's the way
sure.
it should be.
Across the room from Hack Edgeman, we have the only reason that this room exists right now. We have the only person to be an official roster member of ETW,
What?
HWC,
What?
NWW Pittsburgh,
What?
New Wave Wrestling,
What?
Steel City Alternative Wrestling.
What?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. A CAW for sure. And Suicidal Wrestling Clash.
What?
The only motherfucker that has wrestled on all of those shows, all of those companies, been around the whole damn block. We have Quinn Leone. Hello,
Yo,
Quinn.
what's up, everybody?
It's great to have you here, brother. It's been a
Great
while.
to be here. I know.
What was your wrestling name?
Which one?
Go for it. Run 'em off.
So when we first started out, I went by Spike
Yep.
in ETW.
Yep. We talked about that episode 1 a lot.
Yep. And then shortly thereafter, once it transitioned into not ETW, NWW. That's
Yep.
what it is. Whenever
Yep.
it turned into that, it was Caden Angel.
No.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, was it Quinn Carnage first?
It was Quinn Carnage
Okay.
first, yes.
Okay.
It was Quinn Carnage for a year at least.
Was it?
Close to it, yeah. It was 07, and then at the end of 08, you got the back tattoo, and we changed the name to Caden Angel.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I believe you were trying to do a restart kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you wanted to change your name.
Did you get a CTK name? Because everybody else got a CTK name. Do you think he just went back to calling you Spike?
I don't know.
Because Dominic was wasted and Josh was worthless. JP was Echo. E was Feck. You were in CTK when he came back. I don't think he gave you a name though. He might have just called you Spike again.
I totally forgot all about that.
About the CTK.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right. Those are the names. Now, of course, we're going to get to NWW Pittsburgh today because that was us 3. That was just us. We'll talk about other roster members that played a part in it, but it was our shit. The 3 of us are the reason why 2008 happened. So we're going to bullshit about that because we put ourselves over. We're in all the main events. We did all the good shit. Before we get to NWW Pittsburgh, obviously you had some previous backyard wrestling stuff, right? Because we've already shown it and discussed it and talked about it. Is there anything specific that you remember that you want to bring up from ETW days? Anything fun, quick little anecdote? If it's nothing, it's nothing, but...
Not just I was honestly looking at some of the videos that you sent me, earlier to get prepared, and it was just a really big spot fest.
Okay, yeah.
Is essentially what it was. You had said earlier, Dom, that it was having fun. You know what I mean? That was blatantly apparent whenever you go back and watch those videos.
They were so much fun. They were better than us. The promos and the storylines that came up in ETW were better than the promos and storylines that came up when we did it. but we had fucking adult money and light tubes, and that made us better. And that's just the way it is. So whenever it comes to you before NWW Pittsburgh, you wrestled with like a couple people in your front yard, right?
Yeah, it was called FSW,
yes,
freestyle wrestling.
That's almost as generic as ETW. Like that's what because you didn't have the internet, so you didn't know that everybody was FSW or ETW or whatever. You know.
I mean, I had the internet, but it wasn't like it was when we were doing it. It was very small.
Right. Did you film any of that shit ever?
Yeah, and I think I filmed a couple matches or shows on a VHS camera, but I don't even know where they're at.
And who were some of your wrestlers that were wrestling with you when you were doing that?
Mad Mike.
Mad Mike. Oh, Pizza. Yes. Shout out Pizza.
I believe I was Kamikaze.
Okay.
And my other friend was Venom. And I want to say my tall friend's name was Gyro. I don't know, though. I can't remember.
Gyro. No. That's not what I expected.
No big guy bricks during this time period?
No.
No BGB. All right. Well, that's before NWW Pittsburgh, right? So I guess before we actually get into what we did at NWW Pittsburgh, let's talk about how or why it started a little bit. Like we already in previous episodes talked about the base and how it came to be. Do you remember moving the base?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember getting all the tires and plywood to build the base the first time.
So you remember both parts of it.
I remember it all, dude.
Fuck yeah.
Like I remember when we decided to build a base. I remember when we decided to move the base.
So since we kind of talked about some of this already, but we didn't get your opinion, were you excited about the base? Were you going to roll through it? Like, or did you not care? Was this something that you ever, like in that time period, were you like, yes, we're going to wrestle, or was it just something to do?
I didn't know what we were going to do until we were doing it.
Okay.
So I was really excited because for a while there, we still had a trampoline right next to the base.
Right.
And then we moved the base down to JP's house from Josh's house. And we still had a trampoline there.
Right. And
so
that's the show that you wrestled Steve.
Yes. And that's kind of where it stepped up and started to take on a life of its own, and everything, started to roll around that. And
yeah, right. For
it was
sure.
kind of like taking off.
So I was trying to come up with a timeline here, and I feel like you and I were already friends whenever that you versus Steve match happened at JP's.
Yes, we were friends whenever the base got moved to JP's.
Right. Okay.
Shortly after, because it got moved there the summer before high school.
Right. That was 06, right? Yeah. So that was whenever HWC was happening. So like literally HWC ended on the trampoline, and then we started hanging out shortly after that.
Right, and because wrestling took just kind of a break there for a while, because I don't know if you guys remember, JP's parents were like, get this fucking base out of my front yard.
Yes, right.
Which is what prompted us to have to move it up here, because you were like, I know
I got a spot.
where to get it. I got a spot. Like I know where we can do whatever we want.
Right.
So
let's move it.
I have a question then. Before the base ever had to leave JP's and you were wrestling on it and you knew him, did you ever say, hey, Rick, I'd be wrestling?
No, so I was at, now that I'm
that is huge.
Right.
That is huge.
Right.
Because, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, because now that I think about it, I didn't do that match while I knew you, because we didn't, like you said, we didn't meet until the summer of 10th grade.
Right.
And when we met, that's whenever wrestling took a break, because shortly after we met, that's whenever we started getting into the wrestling tapes that I had.
Absolutely.
The extreme, they weren't ECW wrestling tapes. They were backyard wrestling.
Yep.
Hardcore.
Absolutely.
Backyard
I
wrestling
a few of them
tapes.
myself.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
you were
we'll get into some of that shit for sure.
You were like, I want to do this.
Yep.
And we were talking to you, and you were like, JP has the base and all that. And we tried to get Josh in it, and he wasn't trying to do it anymore. And Steve was trying to go pro or whatever the hell he was doing.
Right.
And he was shitting on it, and
they just kind of gave us the base.
And, right. And we just kind of.
I get why none of them went. I wonder what happened with me.
I think you were just about the music, because that's what we're going to talk about first here. Is like at the beginning, after we got this base right away, we thought we were going to do this. Like, this was the shit. We were going to be doing this shit. And then February of 2008, which is essentially where our story starts here, me and you decide to go to a Twisted concert.
Correct.
And we came home that night thinking that we were Twisted.
Yes.
I was Jamie Madrox and you were Monoxide, and we were going to be a famous rapper duo group forever.
They became
Correct.
rappers.
Right.
They became rappers.
Right.
We did. We
Makes
embodied our 17-year-old selves.
Yes.
Embodied the still living spirits
Right.
of Jamie Madrox and
The Monoxide
the
Child.
Monoxide Child.
So we kind of probably didn't care all too much about the bass. Like, the fact that it was there was an option for us, but we thought we were doing motherfucking music.
It was a place to beat each other up and smoke weed.
But barely, right? So then this is where we're going to go back to Ed here for a second. You said you were there in 2007 at the end of the year.
Well, yes, I don't know like the chronological order, but
Yeah.
I was there to film the first big show. I filmed you versus Quinn.
Yeah.
And I also remember you talking to me about bringing the bass up, and I was obviously did not know what I wanted to do. I was
Yeah.
mixed emotions about it.
Yeah.
And I believe that you said, why don't you and James just fuck around and just see how you feel about it? And I swear this video is on tape somewhere, probably at my house. But you filmed me and James having a shit show wrestling match.
I just remembered this. I did all
Before
this
I
research.
even was committed, before he was committed,
Right.
that happened.
I
And he
filmed-
almost broke my neck, by the way. He
He
power
did.
drove me.
He
yeah.
did.
He almost broke a lot of people's necks.
A lot of people's necks. And to be fair, so did I. Like, I was
Yes,
right
I'll
there.
second that.
Yeah.
That's why you got stabbed.
I don't know
in
if
the
we're
head
gonna
with a
get to it,
fork.
but your
Sure.
stomach, and not in like a mean way. Your stomach almost broke my neck.
Oh man, I don't know what we're talking about. We might see it. So so during that time period, then the end of 07 is whenever Steve left and me and Quinn were about to be rappers. And why do you guys remember why we didn't wrestle until May? Like, the weather had to be fucking great. Like, everything we were doing up to that point was probably like what? Hang
Yes.
out?
No,
Was
I
I
know.
trying to convince you to wrestle?
Maybe
No.
WrestleMania season was upon you. Yeah. You got excited.
We were hanging out in my parents' basement in the little room
Oh, we definitely were doing that.
and bowling on the weekends.
we were doing that too.
Yeah.
Definitely doing
We
that
were
too.
we were doing that
And we were playing football and smoking weed and drinking.
Yeah.
I just had the wrong friend group, apparently. I messed up.
But
know
I
what I
honestly
was
don't
doing.
remember how 525 was actually all agreed upon. I really don't.
So the only thing I could think of is that me and Quinn were finally ready to go. And I know that it had something to do with watching like a Jeff Hardy match with Rob Van Dam, and me and Quinn are like, we can do this shit. At the beginning, did we have to convince you? Like, was I shooting you the hard shot, or were you just like, I could wrestle maybe if you guys do something?
I don't remember. I could have easily went either way, but I feel like it was along the lines of like I convinced Derek to do it or vice versa. And it was like up to the other person to commit. So
Yeah.
we could have two matches.
Right.
I remember walking up the street though with my skateboard to go do that show.
So it was like around the time where we all first just kind of met each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I knew Eric, and I had hung up at the apartments a whole bunch, and I knew James, but I had never met you.
Right.
And I'd never really hung out with Derek because he was Derek.
Right. True.
And then it was just like we got this base, and you started coming up and hanging out with James more because you were older than us.
Right. Yeah.
You know, were you a grade above James?
No, we are in the same grade.
Yeah. James was a year older than me
Okay,
too.
so yeah, you were a grade above
I was
us
with
then.
James, yeah.
But it was kind of like whenever you're friends with your older brother's friends, and then your older brother isn't friends with them anymore, but you are.
Yeah.
You know, so like
Right.
you were friends with James, and you knew Eric, and he would tell me about this fucking redhead fuck,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden James goes away, and you're just
It's him.
it's just you.
Yeah.
We're all friends now. Like
Right.
we're the
This is
we're the
true,
crew.
Yeah.
Yep. Whatever happened to get us to this point, but we finally get here. Let's I'm gonna run a little 52508. So this was the first entrance in NWW Pittsburgh, these guys right here. So this kind of happens pretty quick because of the way that I managed to cut it up here. But so this is the first fucking show. You versus Derek are doing stuff, and you can even see right here that Ed's just the best. Like he knows what he's doing a little bit, right? He looks like he kind of came from the ETW crew. Like
Natural
looks
talent.
Right, yeah. And it's probably because he was doing the FSW shit, but then this happens. Let's watch.
So this was me always trying to voice myself and try to, impress somebody.
Right.
And I don't want to give away the next match, but I believe that influenced the very big spot in the next match.
Not only
that was
did
not planned until that happened.
Not only did it influence it, nothing like that was gonna happen until that happened. And then I'm like, dude, how are we gonna main event after Ed does that stupid shit, right? Like first day, nobody knows what to expect out of anything. We're busting this camera out, just us for the first time, and it's like, all right, Derek and Ed are the preliminary match, and they're just going to roll around and do whatever, and me and Quinn are going to come out and main event and get this title match popping, and we're going to be the shit. Like, that's just what it was about to be.
No.
And then Ed comes out and does that and just immediately ruins every plan that we had. I remember losing my mind over this, and actually on the original music video of this, I replay it 3 times. 3 replays. Call it the 3-play. So, yeah. I mean, Derek didn't even look terrible this day, but I did some pretty hard clips, But, yeah, this was just supposed to be the preliminary match of the first show, and it was setting up me and Quinn. Go on.
I believe, definitely this show, but a lot of the beginning of our matches were barely planned at all.
Barely planned at all.
Barely.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, a couple things here and there, but not spots. Just ideas, I'm going to suplex you on the ground, and that's it. That's the whole idea. But the actual, chain wrestling, double flip, get up, arm drag shit, no, we didn't do any of that.
Did we pick
I forgot that I lost.
Not only did you lose, you lost to an RKO.
Which ended up being my finisher.
Your finisher for the next 5 years.
I mean, that he learned.
Right?
He's like, this
That's
put me away. So
that is great actual storytelling that we definitely did on purpose.
yeah, of course.
So here we have a little me and Quinn promo, and he's talking about essentially just Steve left. I'm not with those guys anymore. I'm here.
I like that. I like that reversal.
I miss those pants and that shirt.
I miss every bit of gear that all of us had. Because, yeah.
Where'd you guys put all your clothes?
In the garbage.
Right in the trash.
Fair enough.
I mean, those shorts, fucking dude, that ended up being my gear. Those shorts were my shit, pretty much the entire time off and on.
Those were.
Yeah. And then here it is. This wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Ed's bump.
Yeah.
Ed's bum.
All right, so let's look at that. Ed was sitting down in the background there, and as soon as I land, he gets up, throws his fucking shirt away, and then he takes off, dude. We got to see it happen.
This is so
I forgot about that.
That's great.
Boom. Gone.
I gotta give the credit where credit's due, because that bump and spot was fucking sick.
Right.
But you didn't know that you could probably cut that out and have the sound in during that, because it would have made it so much better.
There were so many things I didn't think to do back in those editing days. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. This is Windows Movie Maker for the first time.
That's why they're called music
live,
videos.
that spot
we just
was
put
fucking
music to the
amazing.
video, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly. And this was the show that
this is sick too, though.
This is the show that I didn't know that I was going to have the camera, because we had the show. I was going to take Derek's camera back to Quinn's house, use his computer to window movie, make a couple music videos for us to watch and try and put out and shit. And then I went to go get the camera from Derek at the end of the day, and he's just like, no. And I'm like, yes.
After this show.
Oh,
God, the beginning of it all.
Right. So I'm like, yes, absolutely. Or else I don't know what, but or else, you need to go get me your camera.
Check yourself.
Right
Yeah,
right.
He did that a lot.
Right.
Is that why he's not here today?
He's in Colorado or some shit like that. He lives in a different state. But I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow found a way to watch this. I don't know. If you search YouTube for Hack Edgeman, the only person that has any videos besides me is the Derek YouTube channel, where it's a couple shits from the end of 2009.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this next thing, I think, is the cleanest thing Quinn's ever done in his entire life.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, I got to see this. This was great.
Yeah, that was sweet.
And then he gets up fired up. Look at this guy. That
was sick, yeah.
Yeah, dude, this was sick. So this show was fucking cool. This was really important to us. If it wasn't for this show going the way that it did, the rest of what we did wouldn't have went the way it did.
Yeah, we probably would all gave up.
Right.
For how...
Okay, hold on. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, for how ill prepared we were, this first show went like perfect.
Absolutely. I need to talk about this.
Oh, the curb stomp.
The move of NWW Pittsburgh was the curb stomp. Every single person on the roster did the move, and every match was a race to see who could do it first. Because if I did it to you, you couldn't do it back to me, unless you're Jimmy P, in which case, if you curb stomp him, he's probably going to do it to you 6 more times throughout the match.
100%.
No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
I just feel like it was like a desperate filler like move.
It was. It
It was
was
like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to curb stomp him.
Yeah, right. Now, here's the end of this match. Quinn grabs my little fucking handle thing. That this came off of... This came off. It came off of a toolbox that I made in like 6th grade, and I was like, "We need a weapon, and this looks big and foreboding, so like just use it as brass knuckles."
I don't remember this, but now I remember it.
So I go up for the Styles Clash. Quinn's like, "No," and then James is the ref, just looking at it, and Quinn's like, "You didn't see nothing." And James is like, "What's that?" Don't worry about it. We roll on.
It's
Nice side effect.
It's editing magic. You didn't see anything.
Right, exactly.
Nothing there.
Funny thing about that move, I think it was kind of Dominic's finisher in ETW, and it was also Death's finisher, but Death just did it 3 times.
Yeah, the 666.
The 666.
That is correct.
But that's not how we came up with it, because we were watching like random fucking just wrestling highlight videos, and we saw Matt Hardy do a side effect, and him and I both look at each other like, "You're big, you could do that. Let's roll it." Yeah, like it had nothing to do with the fact that ETW did it. So that was our very first show, man. Do you remember like what we were doing for theme music or anything at this time? Did you have a boombox or something?
I
don't
want to say
remember.
we had something on the side there. Where out when you see me sitting and I jumped up, I think there was a radio there.
It was
And
probably
I think it was
yours.
just like freestyle on someone's iPod or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you might have had a CD made. I don't
Like
remember.
even early on, we had real entrance music. Like Title Tournament, we had real entrance music. I think that for a while at least, you were in charge of the music. Like you
Yeah.
did, whether it be a Grace, was there like a Grace CD player or something that you rocked with?
I'm sure.
Yeah, we had that for the theme music. Production, I was doing everything. I was doing the camera, the music videos, the fucking, even most of the booking I was doing. Like, I was just doing a lot of the fucking shit to start out with.
Yeah, he was telling us what time to be at his house.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Belts.
Be
Quinn
here after
is about
school.
to show us here. Ed's plastic light heavyweight
Oh,
championship.
shit. Was that a desperation last minute thing? I need a
Yeah,
belt?
yeah. That was the only one. So we were, because it was that or the European title, I think.
didn't want to use that
I don't
one.
think we did either, but I think you spent extra cash on, like, that one was a thing
It had to
that,
be ordered online.
yeah, right. So not only did you not want to use it, but the light heavyweight kind of, I guess, looked more real to us.
I think because it was like different from like the WCW belt or something
Right.
like that.
Now, like, that belt was sick. Dominic fucking has a story about climbing a ladder to get his mom to buy that for him, which is pretty crazy. But, so
Tune
we were,
into episode 1, baby.
yeah, we moved the base up into the woods by my house, you know. We're doing this for almost 6 months by the time that the title tournament comes around for the first time. We had been there since October the year before doing shit, right? So the first big show that we really got our hands on where everybody was there was...
Well, it's a big show.
This was the game changer right here. Was this show? This show was so much fucking fun. It wasn't
so
even
much
funny.
fun. And like we cut the grass clearly. Like 525, the grass was disgusting.
Is this still Quinn Carnage?
Yes.
Yes.
So this show essentially was a double elimination show, but Lil Ryder kind of got screwed somehow.
The big guy doing a indie kick.
Yeah, he
Right.
had to leave, didn't he?
Oh, is that what happened?
I
Or
think
maybe he
Lil
showed up
Ryder had to
late?
leave, and
Yeah.
then it messed up our plans or something, and James not being there.
Right. So that bump right there, whenever Ed rolls off the bench, I booked this show. I was going to win this show. Up until the main event, it was booked for me to be the champion and me and Quinn to go the rest of the summer just feuding each other because Quinn will have lost the belt, but not to me after cheating. We were going to do like this whole thing where it's just me and Quinn forever. And then the day of this tournament happens, everybody realizes that Ed's clearly the best. Like everybody. By the time he's had 3 matches, everybody's like, what the fuck? Ed's the best one out here, right? And I'm like, yeah, probably, but it's still my company and I want to fucking win, you know?
Bro, as Mad Dog, I feel that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just going to play some of this in the background while we're bullshitting about the show. But yeah, I just wanted to fucking win the title. So we have this match, and I actually have to turn the volume down, or else we're gonna get.
Imagine not
suspended
wanting to
here.
win the title. Would that be weird?
It would be weird. In fact, like, how many times have you ever turned down winning a title?
Never. Actually, I would always discredit the U.S. title. I would always talk down to it. Like, I don't want this.
Right.
I want the real belt.
So up until this match, Ed was supposed to win the championship, or I was supposed to win the championship. Jimmy P, Derek, Brian, pretty much everybody except for Quinn. Ed needs to win this fucking shit. Like, getting mad at me. Like, literally fucking, like, we know you're booking yourself to win, but Ed needs to fucking win. And so before the match, I tell Ed, if he does that, I'll let him win.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
So in the match, he does that and completely half-asses it and doesn't take it the way that I think he's going to.
Still hurt like a bitch because I was skinny and my spine stuck out.
I know, I'm sorry, but you did take it like a bitch, and you took way crazier shit later on. So, like, what I saw in my head was not Ed doing a somersault over the picnic bench. I was like, if you run at me and do a flip and die on the bench, I'll let you win the title. And he agreed to do it, and then it was that, and I'm like, well, I mean, he did it, so.
What, Brian's sloppy bitch?
Yeah, dude, unbelievable.
Brian was supposed to be like one of the big guys. Like,
Yeah.
we thought he was going to be awesome.
He jumped up, landed,
And then landed
and
on me.
like went to kneel down on top of you.
Yeah, because he's a pussy.
Yes, a lot of bad, very bad stuff got left in these music videos because it was all on me. And every time I could take out a drop kick that looked disgusting. Worst drop kick you've ever seen in your life. I got all three of them telling me, why'd you take that drop kick out, dude?
Footage,
That's 100%
man.
true.
Footage.
Right.
100% true.
So I had to make like 6-minute long match music videos just so everybody felt like they got their shit in. And like going back and re-editing this, I'm like, damn, this could have been such good media if I would have just been able to take out all the bullshit.
I think a lot of the, like, to defend us, we really didn't sit around and, like, watch full matches. So,
Right.
like, when you put something out, we wanted to see everything
Right.
you did.
Right. So like you wanted to make sure that if you did something and I sent you a video, you were being able to watch what you did.
Yeah.
And I feel that.
Well, see, like we didn't have the capability to share videos like we can today, so it's not like you could have just given him the video and been like, "This is the uncut version," so
Right.
you can study what you did and improve. Mm-hmm. You know, it was cram as much into a music video as you can, depending on how
Limited
long the
space if
song
you wanted
was.
to do that.
Yeah, right. I would double up on songs, like fucking 8 minutes for a match, whatever. So during this title tournament, Quinn came in with the belt. And as I already said, I lost in the finals to Ed. And there was a lot of gobbledygook in between that honestly, the math doesn't math quite right. But if you look at it as a double elimination, I guess it kind of works. And Ed ends up basically beating us and taking the title from Quinn. They had a singles match earlier in the show too, so it wasn't like...
It was part of the tournament, though.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I beat
absolutely.
BGB and Quinn, and then I won this one.
Right. No, you lost to BGB. He beat you.
Well, the reason why it was did he? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
why it was a double elimination.
Yeah, and the reason why it was so fucked up was because Jimmy P was supposed to be there.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah,
Well, it was going to be a regular tournament until he fucked us over.
and we had it so mapped. We knew exactly what was going to happen. It was going to be just me and you in the finals.
A white piece of cardboard
Yeah.
paper, and you
Yep.
had markers.
Yep.
And I remember we were standing there, you're like, dude, we're so fucked now. I don't know what to do.
Yep.
James ain't gonna wrestle.
Yep. And like we were like, well, we got fucking 6 people here, so we got to figure out how to make a show. Like, what do we do?
Yeah, because he showed up sunburned from graduation, and then he wanted to go to a party.
But he actually did
I
feel
think.
bad though. Like he came. I'm sorry, guys. I fucked
Yeah.
up. Like I went to the wave pool, and I knew you guys wanted to do this.
I went to the wave pool.
Yeah, it
My
was
bad,
right
guys.
after high
I let you
school.
down.
Yeah. I feel
it was
that.
his graduation. Like to,
How
to
old were you
practice.
guys when this happened?
He was like 18.
Yeah.
We were 17.
Yeah, I feel him. He's legal.
Right.
He went to the wave pool.
Yeah, right. He got cigarettes in his pocket legally for the first time. Yeah, so that was that shit. Title tournament happens. Ed takes over. And we pretty much don't talk about the world title for the entire rest of the year. Ed just wins the belt, and we just don't care.
Why was that?
I don't know. All I know is that it happened.
I just think we were more concerned with having fun, awesome matches than titles.
I very much agree with you.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
We're just chilling.
Learning as we go, doing the shit, fucking trying to make each music video better than the last one.
Posting.
Yeah.
On the link.
Posting on the link. Eddie,
Is this where the strippers show up?
Ed, I love you. So we have the New Alliance versus the Children of God here.
Me and my friend were really religious at this time.
And you both went to like the religious, like
Catholic school together.
Yeah,
so
right.
that was like another reason why we did the whole
I didn't know
God
you were
gimmick.
religious.
At one time I was, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an atheist now. That's funny as shit.
So
I
here's
always thought
me and
you were a
James.
degenerate.
Me and James coming out, Jimmy P, and our gimmick is we both smoke cigarettes. That's our whole gimmick. We both
What year was this?
2008.
That's a great gimmick.
Right, early 2008.
That's a hardcore gimmick.
Right,
My
absolutely.
debut of my official Forever gear.
Yes.
That was like a street brawl move. You just grabbed your foot,
I
threw you
remember
on the
that
ground, and
hurting
kicked
like a
you.
bitch, too.
We 100% didn't plan any of this.
No, like looking.
So we're gonna go to the end of the match though, because that would have taken 40 fucking minutes.
At the end of it.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's what this is.
Looking back on a lot of this stuff, it's crazy that nobody ever like seriously injured themselves.
I mean, I kind of did. Okay, here's this though. Ed turns on BGB,
This part's hard though.
does the fucking
Cross and then fuck you.
boom. What was? Did we just call that the RKO? Was there ever a name for
I
that?
don't think it was. It was just the RKO.
Just a rolling RKO.
Yeah. And then
Actually,
we just
that's
beat
exactly
the shit
what
out
it's
of
called.
BGB.
Here we go.
So this
Called
is
it
me
the rolling
going
RKO.
against
Children
my religious partner.
The new alliance is where it's at.
Fuck God, fuck Children of God, and fuck BGB. The new alliance is where it's at. So here is my favorite quote in NWW Pittsburgh history.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's amazing.
That's so good.
Oh my God.
So listen to what Ed says, and if you can't listen,
God isn't real. You're all alone now.
you got
I had a
played.
decent attempt at a gimmick.
It was great. It was unbelievable.
That's actually not bad.
right.
No, like so if that was on WWE or All Elite today, I would be like,
Right.
cool.
Right. Exactly. God isn't real.
Yeah.
So like, here's Jimmy P and Petrie in the background, not knowing like.
PWA guys.
So this is this was like an invasion angle that we kind of had going on for a little bit, where PWA showed up and decided that they wanted to like not be a part of us, but wrestle with us. Like they still wanted to do their own thing
Yeah, they wanted to do he wanted to start his own company up again, his Fed.
at our location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like we would do like intermittent shows.
Right.
He was obsessed with WCW and wanted to do like an invasion angle.
Yeah, and he was all worried about like getting a fucking commentary table and shit. And me and you
Oh,
were like,
shit.
"Have you seen Arbo versus Anarchy Andy? Like, why do you care about a commentary table?"
Yeah, he was totally stuck in 1992.
Right. But in reality, though, after watching ETW, that type of shit was kind of dope.
We did do commentary.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if we would have set up like some sort of barricade style like perimeter around the base and an announce table and had like actual announcers commentating and dictating the match,
Yeah.
that would have been a game changer
here
for video
for us?
editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been wild, but we didn't have the time and people
No,
to
Do you
that.
remember the
absolutely
name
not.
Gert B. Probe?
Yes, I do.
I figured. You remember everything. That's good.
Yes, I do.
So that happened. Ed turned on BGB and kind of joined the new alliance, but he didn't really join the new alliance. He just left BGB.
It was supposed to be just like me being with my Fed, which was, NWW Pittsburgh.
Right.
But that whole angle didn't work out.
No, because as soon as PWA came in and did their thing and we beat them literally right away, as soon as that happened, we beat them in a 4-on-4 match, and then they
Faded
they
away.
never came back.
Because they couldn't handle that we actually were pretty violent.
Right.
That was probably the biggest adversary, I guess you could say, that we had as backyard wrestlers, was just everything kind of fading away and then fading back in.
Oh,
and
100%.
fading away.
No
and
doubt
fading
about
back
it.
in.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Life just getting in the way.
yeah.
Right,
And
right.
As soon as things happen, like shit just happens. Essentially, like the middle ground between ETW and NWW Pittsburgh, there's this, like a butterfly effect where none of that shit happens, and I don't even really hang out with Ed anymore, even though he lived right down the end of the street from me. Like, we got super close because of wrestling.
Dude, it was
That
like,
is
Super
honestly,
close
right,
because of wrestling, but
right.
we were friends before that.
We were completely cool. We were hanging out in the same group of friends. We were both friends.
Yeah.
But whenever wrestling happened, it was me
The
and you.
game changer, yeah.
right.
So we just did the whole fuck God situation. It was what it was. This was pretty much the only storyline we had going on at the time. We didn't really care much about storylines, but like Ed clearly did. During this time,
Don't put me on blast. You loved it.
So we talked about the link. We brought it up a couple times, and we share a similar scenario with Mad Dog over here.
I'm Mad Dog.
Dominic's Mad Dog. He
I'm
was
Mad
Mad Dog. He's still Mad Dog. So yeah, we share a similar scenario with him where everybody was telling us fucking use your left hand when you do a fucking suplex. Story of a match is supposed to go blah, 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 blah. Don't hit a fucking trapper keeper in the middle of the match. Keep your legs straight when you're doing a flip. Fuck.
Yes, but we also have to point out that the link almost overcame the joy of us wrestling for fun. It became us wanting to impress everybody on the link, and that is why this happened and why we became so obsessed with wrestling properly, in quotations.
And I think this was around the time I took a step away.
Yes, you were definitely
Yes.
on. You were chilling elsewhere
It's
during this
lame.
time period.
But I do love the promo. I would have done the same thing and felt strongly about it to this day.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna run it. That's a great introduction. Everybody knows what we're about to see, so I love to hear it.
Dude, I heard this rumor going around that you don't know how to flip.
Yeah, I heard that when you do your arm ringers and arm bars, you don't keep it close enough to your chest.
I heard that you don't know how to get upright.
I know, dude. I've been getting off for 17 years of my life. Like, what the
17
fuck? I think I know how to
years?
get
like,
upright.
I was older than that.
My gimmick is still I
Do you
smoke
really think I should
cigarettes.
start doing suplexes left-handed?
I don't know. I think it might help a little bit.
Well, okay, Sick Rick didn't know how to wrestle. And he always did the suplexes with the right arm.
Always.
And people were telling me that's not the right way
Which
to
is
do
the
it.
wrong arm.
Because
Yeah, too.
it makes it easier for people to reverse my moves. Why do I want people to reverse my moves? But I
Good
digress.
question, right?
Sick Rick was a horrible wrestler. So I've decided that I'm going back to my God-given name.
Yes, very hard.
I'm going to be Jamie Newport. And that's what I'm wrestling as. And I'm erasing the legacy of Sick Rick.
Yep, that's it. That's the end of Sick Rick.
You know,
Never
speaking
happen
of
again.
that, I feel the same way a little bit.
I love this
Last
line.
couple months, I really don't know who I've been lately. One minute I'm believing in God. Next minute I'm saying fuck God and I'm praising Satan. And
then after that, I'm dancing to rap music.
I come out dancing to a rap song. And apparently I don't know how to flip right. I need to get body control. So I think it's time to change it up and finally be who I want to be.
Who's
Stop
that?
all these gimmicks.
Yep.
Napier.
From now on, I'm Napier.
Yeah.
And this is Jamie Newport.
You're Napier?
I'm Napier.
So how about
And
tonight?
you were worried
we
about the other
showcase our
video.
horrible wrestling. and have a little
This
stand-off
is true.
Newport
This
versus
is
Napier.
way
What do you feel about
worse.
that?
I said that this was cringy, and Dominic
Do it.
loved it.
I love
Oh,
it.
it's absolutely phenomenal.
Well,
but
I-
it's
It
arguably
just shows
worse.
how like desperate we were, like to like be accepted by them.
That was no.
See, that's
that
not how
wasn't-
I interpret it.
Right.
I
That was part of it, but it was also like we wanted to like say fuck you. Like, oh, I don't know how to do the fucking
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were saying that, but in the very end, like think about it, like we changed everything that we loved and wanted to be because of them. That's
That is
fucking
lame.
bullshit.
That promo was very indicative of like new up and coming wrestlers getting told that they suck, and then the next thing you know, they're coming back as like
totally different people.
totally
like
totally
on the
different
Blue
gimmick.
Blazer.
Like yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and it's just
What you
it's
guys are
standard
talking
reworking.
about is like why I was willing to come and hang around but never fully invest. Because I hated having those eyes on me because I didn't know those people and I didn't care about those people. So it was like, this isn't actually fun.
Absolutely.
If I'm being criticized doing it and I'm only doing it like part-time, you
Right.
know? So I could imagine that would kind of suck because you're like one day from like you're doing it and it's fun and you're enjoying it, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, we have to fucking do this right, and we got to do it enough to show people that we're doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it was
exactly
it was
it.
basically like, all right, we gotta be here for practice. We mean I don't want to practice. I don't want to do that. Like
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
ETW hit you with the practice thing?
no,
I feel like we had
No.
that phase.
We had a practice day?
Not like
no, it wasn't
like
we,
a real thing,
Yeah,
but like
it
it
would
was like, oh well, we gotta
come
make sure
over and
we're
wrestle so we
over
can
the-
work on this match, or
Okay.
we could work on like practice days.
Yeah,
you know what I
sure,
mean?
sure.
Like, hey, we're gonna practice and we're gonna run through what we're gonna do for the match tomorrow or whatever.
Gotcha.
Like, how many times did I sleep over your house?
A billion.
And the day before we'd be working on stuff, and then the next day we'd wrestle, and then the day after that we'd be working on something else.
Yeah,
Practicing
no doubt.
and like playing were probably like the same connotation in our brain as kids.
Yeah,
True,
so
you know?
it went
Like the
from
practicing part was fun.
it
for the
went
most
from
part.
playing to where it was like, all right, hey, I'm going to sleep over and we're going to do this. We're going to do a whole bunch of spots and then we're going to film tomorrow. To, all right, you have to sleep over this day and then this weekend we're doing this show and then that day we're doing this show and then that day we're doing this show. You got to be here for this show at this time. Then you don't have to be here for this, but then you can be here for this. But you really you're gonna go on at any time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and you.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, me and you in our
Yeah.
prime, we made sure
Damn.
shit happened.
And that's kind of what
all
I
the
mean.
time.
It wasn't because I hated it. It was just because I had stuff at the time that I thought was better worth my time.
Yeah,
Wrestling,
absolutely,
you know?
right. No doubt about it.
You know?
Shit's getting real.
The reason why, I mean, literally the only reason Dominic wasn't with us is because he was making music. Like,
Yeah, it
that's
wasn't
what
about-
it wasn't a personal thing. It was
No.
just like what you wanted to do and what me and Ed wanted to do wasn't necessarily the same shit.
But
Right,
meanwhile,
and
my songs were like, fuck everybody who wrestles. that's
for
a
me
lie.
personally, there wasn't enough time in the day to get all over where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Hang out with everybody that I wanted to hang out with. So I kind of had to choose and, partying and.
You were still
Right.
coming back plenty. Like, you were there. You just weren't. We couldn't
It
necessarily.
wasn't a consistent thing,
Like,
but
we
he was
couldn't
still
give
there.
you like a top spot and have you be the guy, even though that was like the initial plan was me and you be the top guys, and it ended up having to be me and Ed be the top guys.
Well, like I said, that's kind of where it went weird because I was one of the first, 4
yeah.
people in ETW.
Yeah.
And then I was one of the first 3 people in
NWW.
NWW,
Yep.
And I kind
Absolutely.
of just.
You
Like,
were
I
always
didn't
there.
want to. I didn't want to be in the spotlight. I didn't.
Right. Yeah, so that's something
I
else.
just
That's
we
kind of
did.
what it seemed like.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get like super wrecked.
Yeah.
Like, and not like like I wanted people to break chairs over my back and hit me with light tubes, and I wanted to see how much blood I could let go before I passed out.
So we're almost there. We're going to get to that real soon. But
Big
before,
balls.
Yes. Before we get to us being the definition of bad the fuck ass, we're going to talk about us being super fucking nerdy here for a minute. And by us, I mean me and Ed. So we did that Newport Napier promo. Do you remember what we did before the Newport Napier promo?
Do we want to talk about this?
I need to talk about this.
Okay, so we were so frustrated with the Ling talking shit on us that we figured we're going to watch one of the most...
Our favorite
match.
Yeah, like as a friendship group, me and Ed, if we picked a favorite match, it's Hero versus Homicide from IWA Mid-South.
Which most independent wrestling fans probably never even seen.
Exactly.
But we didn't know that.
Right.
So we were like, oh, we're going to get them bastards, and we're going to do the exact same match that they did, but just throw our moves in there. And then when they talk shit on us, we're going to be like, oh, wow, you just talked shit on Chris Hero and Homicide.
Right. When in reality, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. So we wrote down a lot of shit on a fucking piece of notebook.
Spot for spot, we
and
wrote
just
it down.
didn't even have a match. We basically just did spots from what I remember.
Yep, and we got like halfway through it, and we were like, this is a bad look.
This is horrible.
Everything we're doing here was a bad idea. We should. So then we scrapped that whole shit, and we're like, let's do Newport Napier instead.
Which was just as bad.
Yeah, right. I don't
I
know.
like
about-
this match, but the idea of it is pathetic.
Again, it all comes back to like.
It's
we
all.
didn't
I'm
have
really
the
having
planning.
a realization of this right
Yeah.
now for
Yeah.
the first time. Like
Right.
how ridiculous this is.
Absolutely, no doubt. But,
Nobody was qualified for the job.
right.
You know?
Well, that's the thing. You look at a lot of people these days, like a lot of YouTubers and stuff like that, and even people that still do like backyard fighting type things, and they all have a dedicated camera guy. It's not
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
hey, dude, you're done wrestling. Get your ass over here and hold this camera.
Right.
Or
We had to
you
find
know,
someone dedicated enough to get us a camera.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Meanwhile,
right.
there's all one in a phone. It is so crazy that we like grew up in the age of like watching social media become a thing, connect with each other, let it mature. Now we're like at the age where like our parents will use social media and they're like kids and our kids will just grow up and use it. And it'll
for
be,
more
like,
than
normal.
Farmville.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
It's
it's
like
weird.
a whole different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were the last group of the analog.
It used to be like fun and now it's like,
Yeah.
what app today?
Well, yeah, because you look at these videos and you think if we had the energy and the a little bit of a less body pain and a little bit less just shit going on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
all we need is the 4 of our phones, and we could put out better quality
100%.
stuff than this without editing.
Yeah.
You know what
That's
I mean?
so true. That's so
Yeah,
true.
if you scroll through YouTube right now, there's people in 4K with a cool little logo in the corner of their shit, and it looks professional as fuck. and
Right.
It's not.
Could you
And they're doing
imagine
the
if we
exact
had
same
that,
stuff
though?
that
No,
we're doing.
I had an ex-girlfriend's camera. I had Deke the Freak's garbage camera, and I had my camera that I needed a Firewire to transfer.
beat
we
ass
filmed
computers.
UTW with
Yeah.
a microwave, like
Right.
You know, like
Right.
that is what it is.
Yeah,
So,
we used to put Josh's stereo in his window, and somebody would have to sit in his bedroom and hit play.
Yes.
So that Hero versus Homicide came from the IWA Mid-South tape that we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
During that time period, Ed introduces us to deathmatch wrestling, right? Like, I mean, we
Correct.
might have seen some shit, and like you said, we were watching the Backyard Wrestling tapes, but Ed was like, this is Tournament of Death.
Yeah, he was like, watch this guy hit this other guy with a weed whacker. And
Yep.
to this day, I like, hands down, if somebody was like, we're going to put you in a death match and all you have to do is get hit with a weed whacker, I'd be like, fuck it, let's do it. Straight up. Not in the face, because I can't put a shirt over my face and I
Right.
work in public. But yeah, I'll take a weed whacker to the back or the chest. Don't tell my wife, but I will.
Just gonna see it later.
Yeah, right.
What would
eventually.
what would the lie be?
Shit myself. Or I'd just tell her I'm cheating on her and let her get mad about that.
Right.
I would rather her find out that I lied about cheating on her.
I feel
Right.
like that
Get over
lie
it.
is so practical that she'd believe it.
Right.
Because oh man.
It's fine. I'll walk my ass. I'll take my walk of shame. Like, at least she doesn't know I was in a death match.
That's the
that's
the
the
silver lining.
That's the payoff.
So IWA Mid-South tapes, we were watching them, and we, like you said, saw the guy with the weed whacker, Sick Nick Mondo.
Amazing.
Incredible. I went to your house that night, and this is during the era of MySpace. So I was pretty big on the MySpace fan page like circuit. I was out there doing that type of shit, right? So that first night, I go back to your crib. I stay up all night while you're sleeping. I make fucking a Sick Nick Mondo MySpace fan page, like all laid
the birth
out,
of the fan pages.
all crazy type of shit, dude. I went hard as fuck on that shit. Quinn wakes up the next morning at like 11. I'm still over there just clicking away on like a stolen copy of Adobe Illustrator that I had on his computer.
He managed to steal Adobe Illustrator, learn HTML, and make like 15 fan pages that he just never logged back into.
Yep.
One night.
Yeah, one night.
Yeah,
Damn.
essentially, yeah.
The only one I remember is the one that he was like, "You can run this," and it was Hornswoggle.
Hornswoggle. Horny little bastard
He
is
was
what
like,
it was
yeah,
called.
yeah, he was like, "I don't like this one. You can have it."
So yeah, I was really down for Sick Nick Mondo and these death matches and that type of shit. Do you remember if you had to talk us into this, or if this was like a collective idea? Like, did you want to do this first, or did we just all say we should do
I
this?
doubt it. We were high.
We weren't though, really.
We
I
fucking were. Yes,
honestly,
we were.
I don't remember how it came up, but I do remember that I quit one of my jobs
Yeah.
because I wanted off Friday because that's when we were supposed to do it. It was a dumb dishwashing job. It wasn't anything important.
This was
But-
the tournament though, right?
Yeah, because we were
But
doing it on a
before that,
Friday.
we were doing death matches.
We
So
did
like
one.
the first night,
we did one death match.
The first day we did the first annual Day of Death.
When was that? June or July?
Yeah, that was early in
Because
the
the
summer.
tournament was in September. I'll never forget that.
Right. So this was earlier in the summer. We did the first annual Day of Death.
It was random stuff that we got up like everywhere.
Do you remember?
Yeah, note to
Didn't we
self.
go walking like down the street and like looking for light tubes and like shit like?
We walked up and down Churchview, stopping at every garbage can we could find, all the way up into where Dominic ended up living for a little bit at his brother's current house.
Oh yeah.
And you don't know. And then we grabbed shit out of every garbage can, and somehow there was a pane of glass. There was fucking multiple light tubes. There was a
Like
bat.
some
pane
particle
of glass.
board.
Yeah. There was a whole bunch of shit for the first day
it
of
was
death.
it was fun though.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Where
Derek
did the
taped
picnic
himself all the
table
way
come
up.
from?
That was that's another story. We were so worried, but we wanted to do it that we literally went inside. Well, some of us, like me, went home
Yeah.
and just got so protective, like with our clothes.
So we're going to sit here and we're going to watch a little bit of our best of deathmatch shit here. And if anything from the tournament pops up in any of these clips, we're just going to not talk about it until we get to the tournament. So,
I forgot about the tax.
so yeah, that was,
Quinn, I remember you being super excited for this, though.
Dude, I told you, all I was there to do was to just get light tubes broken on my back.
This
All
really did shock me.
Oh, this is just all deathmatch stuff.
this was our 2008 deathmatch highlight
Okay.
video.
This was the finals for the tournament, me and Quinn, for our barely ever used deathmatch title.
There's the shirt.
Yeah.
Yep, there it
I love
is.
that spot.
This was the only time you'll see Ed in actual pants. I think
Yeah.
wrestling is in one of these matches.
This was an all-day thing. It was super fun.
What are you stabbing him with? A screwdriver?
Hold on,
So-
we're gonna talk about that. So this one was me and Jimmy P fucking with the knees and shit. That match, I think, up until you guys eventually had the most brutal death match, I think me versus Jimmy P was the most brutal
It was
death
definitely
match.
the bloodiest,
Yeah.
too.
Well, it was really bloody because you cut your hand really bad.
Yep.
We had to duct tape it in the middle of the match.
Yes, we did.
Well, him and James, both their backs were covered in blood.
We didn't give a fuck. We were trying to prove that we were who we said we were, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
this is
I was
my
the only one
favorite.
that didn't have a shirt on for the entire thing, though, I think.
To me, this is backyard wrestling.
Yeah,
and
this shit was fucking
it's
insane.
fantastic.
This is what,
I agree.
This is what we did better than anybody.
Yes.
No, there has never
Quinn, we
been
had
a
a lot of good
backyard wrestling
matches
fed
together.
that
Oh, yeah.
consistently went as hard on light tube matches as we did. Like, we made this part of our identity for a while.
No one was doing this when we were doing it. Like, it was like faded
talk
out
about
by
that
then.
one.
Damn. See,
Yeah,
That was
was
from the day
crazy
of death.
to
We'll
me.
talk
That was
about that
fucking
one.
insane.
The glass pane was what really cut my back.
Oh, I believe it.
I still have scars from it.
Did you guys get like glass on your balls?
No, I don't think anybody had it on their balls.
No.
Dang. I mean, nice.
I think the worst was the Eric had it in
That
his
could have
hair.
been disastrous.
So, yeah, NWW Pittsburgh 2008 death matches. That was what we cared about. That's pretty much the reason why there was no, like, championship. We didn't care about the world championship. We cared about having death matches,
And
you
I
know?
feel like that was also, it was like, how do I want to say it? It's like we needed something different.
Right.
So, like, oh, well, we're just going to get fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Use
for me,
weapons.
you guys were already getting to the point where you were like, all right, we're doing, everything on the left. We're, we're actually taking this seriously. And I kind of come back in and I'm just like,
I remember this, yeah.
I kind of remember what you're doing, but
Don't get
I'm really
mad at me
not
if
as
I-
good. So y'all can just like break shit over my head and do whatever the hell you want.
Right. Which is probably what we would have got out of Dominic at the time, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Come to think of it, it's a good thing I wasn't there because at least shots to the head. I don't know how I would have done with my neck, but I've definitely taken too many shots to the head already.
Right.
So if I would have butterfly effect, insert myself in that era, I am probably not in this room. I'm in a padded room,
I agree with you.
potentially.
But at the same time, even though that is unfortunate for your current well-being,
yes.
I still wish you were there.
Yes.
I still-
Also-
yeah, I feel like me and you
That
would have
would've
put
been a
each other in
game
the
changer.
hospital.
Yeah, well, this is what I find interesting, and we talked about this in the car.
Yeah.
So when we did ETW, we were very safe. We never intended to hurt each other. We did try to do spots, but we weren't as willing at that point.
Right.
So to see this, like to see you, someone I did ETW with, do this, I am like shocked because you didn't strike me as this type of person, but I remembered, and I was telling Rick about this when we used to wrestle in my living room. You got to the point where you did not give a shit if someone put you in a headlock.
Oh, yeah.
And you just didn't tap out, and
Yeah.
it got to the point where I was like, I cannot physically choke another human being that is willing to pass out. It was insane. And now I'm connecting the dots.
I'm still like that, dude. That's why I don't fight anymore.
But there was definitely a point like maybe pre ETW where you weren't. You were safe. You were definitely okay. So you snapped, bro.
So you really want to know what it was?
Yes.
It was going to public school. Honest to God, that's what it was. It was going to public school because up until then I was sheltered.
It's a productive
fourth-
use of your energy, honestly.
Fifth through eighth grade. That changed me, bro.
I feel you.
So during that time period while you were going through that, Ed was still in private school. He didn't go to public school till high school, right?
Yep.
So like
Yes.
Quinn was experiencing, because I heard you say some very similar shit to that. Like, I fucking hated my life every day in public school. Like, it changed
It was
who I was.
such a big change, and
Right.
it did change me. Yeah, I mean, for the better in the long run.
Right.
Some worse, but that's life.
Absolutely, no doubt. We all have done some shit, and we all sniffed some shit. Everybody in this room.
It don't matter if you went to public school or private school. You sniff shit.
Yeah, I mean, as an adult looking back, I'm glad I didn't go to private school in high school because it was a bunch of just cokeheads and pregnant Christian chicks.
Absolutely.
And, you know, hindsight, public
Started
school
doing coke in fourth grade, you'd be really fucked.
Yeah, butterfly effect. Going back to Don, I probably wouldn't be here. I did enough drugs when I was in high school. If I would have done coke too,
we were guided to the wrestling.
That brings us to my favorite part of 2008, the deathmatch tournament, which we can't not watch. I have a first-time music video for you guys here that I would love for you guys to watch with me.
Wait, Super Phoenix was in King of Death?
See,
Ooh, that's sick.
right?
Oh shit, that's right, because we needed a whole bunch of new people.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
Yep.
So we just doubled up characters.
And you could tell who took their first round matches seriously. I'm gonna turn this down a little more.
Quinn, you were trying not to laugh. Quinn, you were trying not to laugh the whole time you wrestled Eric in the Jason mask because it was so ridiculous.
Right. So
and you were like making grunting noises and stuff. Dude, it was so funny.
Who brought the dishwasher tray from a restaurant?
probably Ed.
What was that though?
That was
Plastic
forks.
forks.
That was
Yep.
plastic forks.
What's
Yeah,
up?
I stole it from my
Yeah. Oh,
my
yeah. So,
restaurant.
so this is somebody that we didn't bring up. Now that we get to see Super Phoenix here, he was our bonus roster member,
Yeah, when we needed them.
and in ETW, sometimes different people would play different characters. We only had Super Phoenix. It was just you.
Ashes for one match.
Oh, we did have a little Ashes. I forgot about Ashes. So we did have Ashes, and we had Super Phoenix, and it was only Ed. Nobody else ever played Super Phoenix. This match fucking
Well,
rules.
at least there was reason for that. It was because it was Ed.
Fork to
Nobody
the
else
fuck
matched
about
Ed.
that real quick.
Yeah, so fork to the head was... Go ahead.
All
It
right,
happened to
so
you.
in the midst of us, because once again we weren't planning full matches, of course.
Right.
Eric picked up a broken piece of light tube, set it on my lower back. Lower back. I'm 150 pounds. No, at the time I was probably like 130.
And I'm like 230.
He's sloppy. Not even tries to make it nice.
Absolutely.
Jumps and steps with both feet while standing on my lower back. I
did
thought
this.
I broke my back.
Yep. I'm
Once
sorry.
I was able to regroup,
Yep.
I was like, fuck this motherfucker. And I grabbed one of the plastic forks and I stabbed the shit out of his forehead.
So those were real stabs.
Yeah, those screams were 100% legit.
They were
Yeah.
very real, and I very, very much deserved it, especially because I missed the light tube. Like, the whole reason, I was like, we need to break more shit. I'm going to put a light tube on him. I'm going to jump on it. And not only did I break his back, I missed the light tube. Like, it was just, I deserved it.
What's awesome though is
fucking
especially
stabbed
about
him.
these.
I stab people.
4 or 5 people every day.
Even if you took out half of the stuff that was in here with the length of the video, there's still like 90% of like behind the scenes stuff that nobody will ever get to see.
No doubt about it, yeah.
yeah.
That was arguably crazier.
Right.
Sure.
So, the end of this match is not so. Fucking Ed, boom!
His head hit that so
Yeah, that was
hard, too.
beautiful.
It was so loud.
Undertuck.
Remember, James was like, that was fucking sick.
And Quinn was looking away, like on his phone or something. And James just goes, "You missed that shit, man. What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then Ed gets up all hyped up off adrenaline, and he doesn't know what to do because, like, it was an insane spot and everybody lost their shit for it. And Ed's just huffing and puffing, and he goes to pin me. I don't even need to fucking pin him. I just fucking won. Raise my hand. Why aren't you raising my hand yet? Like, Ed's
Oh,
in
yeah.
full
That was
adrenaline
after the
mode.
undertuck.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
right.
that's when
That's the end
James
of the
said
match,
that.
right?
Yeah.
And
It
you're
was 2 out of 3.
Yep. And the first light tube didn't break early on in the match. And then
like,
I went
we're
to
fucked.
swing it on you, and then you kicked it rolling underneath of it, and you had to take light tubes from the main event and freestyle use them in our
That's
match.
right.
Yes, I forgot about that.
So you were mad that not only did we waste light tubes, but you had to lose some from your main event spots that you probably had written down. 2 light tubes for this, 3 for this,
Oh,
1
I did.
for...
Yeah, because
definitely.
we had divvied up the light tubes
Right.
beforehand.
Right.
We had them in a trash
Yeah.
bin.
And,
I think I bought some for that.
we're going to talk about it soon, but the person that paid for this whole tournament is the person that won the tournament. So here we have Jimmy P versus Kate and Angel during the shits.
Yeah, I called him fat, and that's how I know that regular light bulbs don't break.
Those right there.
That was insane.
And then that.
Yeah.
And this is why Quinn is scarred.
Yeah, this was probably the one that you took was fine, but this was probably the scariest as far as like practicality because you were already on the glass pane.
Right. Mine was more my head impact.
Right.
So here we have the finals, and Ed's like, I wanted to start it off like a wrestling match. And at the time, I didn't like that, but watching this back, I love it. It was such a good idea.
And what makes it even more difficult is nobody cleaned the base off.
Right, yeah, we let it ride.
That's sweet. I didn't even realize that. There was one of our other members, was Genesis. He wrestled a couple times.
He did, and he was actually pretty good.
Yeah, he was one of the better ones. That was sick.
Do you know why the starbursts are there? Do you remember why?
Yeah, because I thought it looked cool. I was just trying to do whatever, bro. I was like, it looks like an explosion.
Something different.
Yeah.
Do you remember why you started using them later on, though?
To hide fuck ups. Yeah, right.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, anytime there was a starburst, it was me hiding a fuck up every time.
Is that the end of it?
That's the end of it. So
were you mad that I wanted to win this? Because I remember saying I want to win because I spent money on this.
I was not mad about it at all. I completely understood. Especially at this time, I knew you were the best. I was just trying to keep up. So, whatever you wanted to do, I didn't care. But just know I'm here. Like, I'm the guy, right? Like, you come to me with this thing. You can do whatever you want.
To be completely fair, if you would have just been like, we're not wrestling anymore, it probably would have gone for another couple of months and then stopped.
Yeah, no doubt. So, that was the title tournament. That was not the title tournament. That was the deathmatch tournament. And that was the best day. That was fucking crazy. Like, you could tell who cared about their first round matches because, like, for example, Quinn versus Jason Slay. I didn't want to fucking do anything. Quinn was going to the finals, so we had to give him some stuff to do in the first match, you know? So, like, he hit me in the face with a football and choked me with a fucking an extension cord. Like, it was brutal shit, and I didn't want to be part of it.
I'm glad we have all these full matches. It's going to be hilarious to watch one day.
Absolutely. And
show our grandkids.
Yeah, right. And then the only match in the first round that got any attention was you versus Deke the Freak, because Deke the Freak was never going to be in a deathmatch tournament.
Yeah, he had to do what he had to do in that one match.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, you and him went, like, 15 minutes and took it super serious and did some spots and shit, but it was, like, a couple tables.
Particle board.
Yeah, right.
It was like drywall.
Yeah, it was the least deathmatchy thing of all time. And Super Phoenix versus Jimmy P was like the first match of the day, so you kind of took it seriously.
It was a bed of plastic forks, though.
It was, and it was a...
hey, man, don't dock the plastic forks, all right?
I know all about it, yeah. And then it was the wiffle ball bat with thorns taped to it.
Oh, shit, that's right. That was you and Quinn, right?
No, that was you and Super Phoenix and Jimmy P.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and like you did the grindy thing on his head with it.
I kind of remember
because you used packing tape.
The rest of 2008... we ended up doing this terrible idea where we decided to put Deke the Freak over. Like, we let him beat everybody.
I feel like this was like, he stuck with us. We feel kind of bad. We need to, like, show him that we care. And I also think we didn't want him to leave because we needed him.
I definitely agree with that.
No, we didn't. I'm going to clarify. We didn't need him.
We needed his camera.
We needed bodies.
A body, though.
Right.
We needed
bodies.
But we also needed his camera.
Yeah, and by that point, I 100% for a fact, it was like, if Derek wants to show up and do one match and then leave, as long as he leaves his camera, that's fine.
Yeah, right. So at the end of the year, we had the Buried Alive match, and Derek's all strapped up and shit, and it was probably just to appease him for the most part. And then we go to the winter of 2008, essentially. Like, everything's over after this. We're ready to start figuring out how we're going to go about stuff next year. And we all got together and can't wrestle, so let's talk about wrestling. Let's figure it out. We're not going to be NWW Pittsburgh anymore because that's big and played out and too many shits. And even though we're NWW Pittsburgh, we still were NWW. Like, you know.
It was we wanted to get away from that.
Right. So
and we were up at James's house when you decided the name. Because you and James, I'm sure I said something.
Yeah.
But you and James came down to a couple things, and I think James said SWC because he liked the way it sounded.
Uh-huh.
And then some things were said, and then you were like, Suicidal Wrestling Clash.
I decided on Clash. I wanted Clash. I remember that. Like, going into it, I wanted Clash. And then we couldn't decide what we were doing about the clash, but I wanted the word clash in there. And then James did like SWC. And then I think we just fucking pulled out a dictionary and started looking up words that start with S, like in James's living room, you know?
I feel like someone said suicidal because that's kind of like easy
I
to
think
think
it
of.
piggybacked off of the fact that we were doing a lot of death matches at the time.
Well, that definitely helped. Yeah, no
Yeah,
doubt.
true.
That was a big part of why
So,
we
like,
decided to go with that.
Suicidal Wrestling Clash, I think, was our way of just going in a direction that was a little bit more extreme without using the word extreme.
And not just extreme, but like better. Like everything, we wanted everything to be better.
I think what it came down to eventually was the fact that you didn't want the association with NWW because it was still part of learning how to do things the proper way.
Yes, no
for
doubt.
sure.
And even out of that, like you guys, you made that that promo and all that, but I mean, it bled off into everybody else.
Right.
you know?
Absolutely.
So even if you guys did sell out, it's not like it didn't bleed off into everybody else and kind of became the norm. It wasn't so much selling out as it was just growing and learning.
It was going to
Definitely
happen either
ended
way.
up being a better
Right.
thing in the long run, of course.
Absolutely,
It all
no doubt.
worked out.
We like the whole reason. So we have a lot to talk about, right? But like what we're talking about right now and some of the decisions that we made and the way that maybe people felt about what we did and how we did it, they can all suck our fucking dick, dude. Like for real, because we killed it. Like
Yeah, in the long run, we were the best.
yeah,
so.
no doubt.
It doesn't matter,
right?
really.
And that's not even an opinion-based thing. Like there wasn't
You
that
can't
many.
argue that.
It's literal
Sorry,
facts.
Beast,
Yeah, there
though.
wasn't that
Yeah,
many backyard
right.
wrestling feds in the East Coast at the time we were doing this. And we had
Also true, right? Yeah.
we had everybody coming here.
Yep. So we decided on fucking SWC, right? And the reason why this was going on is because, like I said, we couldn't wrestle, but we still tried.
Yes, we did. Multiple times that was not the best idea.
Right. And the main reason why it sucked, it wasn't snow, it wasn't cold, it wasn't rain. It was the base was frozen.
Yeah, you'd have a 60-degree day, beautiful, but the base was ice and hard as a rock.
Right.
And super wet if it wasn't ice and hard as a rock.
How did we attempt to unfreeze the base?
Another cringy story.
Terrible.
I don't think we took your truck or something.
Yep.
We went to Home Depot.
Yep.
And Derek bought
Yep.
a fucking little like butane lighter.
Like literally something
It was
that you wouldn't
horrible.
even use to smoke dabs with right now. Like it was,
Yeah, I know what you're talking
The
about.
flame was like,
yeah, right.
yeah, they're sitting at the box at the register.
Right. We wanted a torch. We came home with that. We drove all the way to Home Depot, and we're sitting on those carpets with this little
I think it was already
butane-
dark by then.
It was so bad. So when that doesn't work out after hours, the next day we go out there with like traffic signs and shit, like handicap parking signs, trying to like wedge it in
Chip
between.
it away.
Yeah, and like that eventually ended up being the only thing we could do. We were so desperate to wrestle though, like we just had to do it.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah. So because of that, Ed decided to throw a wrestling ring down at his house, right?
There was a whole bunch of carpets somewhere, I believe, and I had a tarp or got a tarp, and then what else? There was no tires, was there?
No, there was no tires.
It was just a whole fuckload of carpet, I think.
I think and with like a nice tarp over top of it.
Yeah, that was it.
And that was the first official match of SWC.
Which is crazy.
Crazy.
But this was super fun, but fucking
So
insane.
yeah, so we're just gonna throw this on in the background, and we're just gonna keep talking about some other shit as we go about this here. But this just shows our absolute need. Fucking pack of Newports or wrestle a wrestling match. We'll get the Newports later. Like
It was
we're
like
wrestling.
a drug.
Yeah, dude. It was insane. And we just wanted to get better and do crazier and crazier and better. And that's all we cared about. It's all it was. Forever. What an incredible way to start that match, by the way.
Where? Okay, I was gonna say, is the carpet covered in snow or?
Nope.
That's it right
Yeah,
there.
it looks like you're just wrestling in dirt.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, what is
Derek
this
and
made
James
out of?
wrestled too this day?
I don't
Or
think
no,
anybody
Pete.
else wrestled.
Pete
wrestled?
and Derek did, I think.
I remember talking about the match in your basement waiting to come out the door. So this was
remember that too.
This was the wrestling area, right? This is where like when you did
This was
freestyle
where
wrestling.
FSW was, yeah.
It was right here too, yeah.
Jumped off that ledge a million times.
And you did it in this match too, I'm sure eventually. Yeah. So we're doing this this snow match at Ed's house, and this is about the time where we can kind of feel that me and Ed are probably the ones that care the most. Like, we're doing all this and everybody else is just kind of on our coattails at this point, you know? And which was fine by us. We didn't care. Just like, please show up whenever you can at this point. We don't, whenever you want to do it. And the crazy thing is that, like, our probably third most reliable person was Jimmy P. Like, he was always willing to go.
Doubt.
He was always ready to go. And even at shows like Plex Fest in 2008, he and I beat the shit out of each other at that show. Like, he
wanted to prove himself too, for
right.
sure.
Yeah,
It's the same thing that happened to me in ETW.
Yeah.
Dominic, Josh, and Mackenzie lived on the same street. You, Ed, and
Derek all lived at the apartments.
Derek and Jimmy P all lived at the apartments.
True.
And nothing but repeats between you at ETW and NWW Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no, it's straight up.
The whole story is so similar to the point where we'll get to that
goddamn
title
soap opera.
relocation thing in a minute here. But even like your frequency of like how often you would show up, wrestle shows, pop out, pop away. And like me and Ed would always used to say, what's Quinn's comeback storyline this time?
Yeah.
Like, he's been gone for 6 weeks. Time to come up with a comeback storyline for Quinn.
I was the Undertaker of backyard wrestling.
Right.
They showed up to
Yes.
wrestle on big shows.
Yeah, and you did. You always showed up, though. Like,
Yeah.
you wrestled BYS 1, you wrestled BYS 3. I don't know about 2, but, like, you were on some of these bigger shows. So, yeah, me and Ed fucking around down here. It's dark as shit. It's late at night. It's cold as fuck, and there's
That
snow
was
everywhere.
nice.
And we were just going hard. So, because of that, this is around the time where we started planning to have a super show. This is like, at this moment, we're thinking we're SWC now. 6 months from now, we're going to have BYS 1. And that was in the books at this time period.
Weren't we like on your grandma's computer
Yes.
or something? And
Yes.
we were watching like some of the shows, and you're like, dude, we should do it.
Yep.
Did you?
You're like, I guarantee you, I can get Zane. All we need is Zane, and we could call it a super show. That's
No
like,
doubt. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Did you already have the name BYS? Like, was that the
no.
first thing that came up?
No.
I don't think that happened till it was like getting pretty close.
Yeah, right. And I honestly, like, I'm sure it was me. Like, I came up with, because like BYS was my baby. Like, and so the way I look at it is
that was all you.
Right. NWW Pittsburgh was Ed. Like, that's just who
Right.
and that's who it should have been, very clearly. Like, NWW Pittsburgh, Ed came up with the names of the shows. He made us a fucking website that we don't have access to anymore, but he had storylines planned out for everybody. He had entrance music. He had ideas for shows. He would title shows. He's the one that still has all the fucking media on disc. Like, Ed in NWW Pittsburgh was like Dominic in HWC. Like, he
Right.
had his outlet now. Like, this is what we're doing. And like, through all that, I was still the one doing the media. I was in charge as much as one can be at that time, you know. Like, I was still the one that was running the Fed more or less, but it was all you. Like, it was your ideas and all the shit. And that's why I called you the Heart to start the show, because like, it was your emotion and your like how much you fucking love this shit that got us to feel the same way, you know. It was, you were the fucking heart. And I call Quinn the bridge because like, literally none of this happens without Quinn. Not a single step of this happens without Quinn. It's insane like how important he was to even like, I just was in Dominic's wedding and I was thinking while I was there, without Quinn, I don't know who Dominic is. Like,
Right.
it's just,
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
But I was going to say, like, when it comes to, like, the actual group of NWW Pittsburgh, I feel like if any one of the 4 of us left, or 5,
yeah,
we were fucked.
I agree. We needed all of us.
Yeah.
And it would have been cool, like, if Quinn lived at the apartments, it might have been different, but even the role he served was very necessary for us. Like, we needed him to do the
It was
comeback
kind of good that
storyline.
he disappeared, because he was like a breath of fresh air when he came back.
Yep.
Like, yes, Quinn's
Yeah,
here.
I-
We could do
I-
something with Quinn, you
Yep.
know?
I think if we all lived at the apartments, we would have probably traveled a lot more. That's probably what it would have been different eventually. But yeah, I think it's exactly right. Me leaving and coming back whenever I did,
Right.
so often, definitely threw a little bit of.
So I was thinking of a
change in
dream
there.
world scenario, and I was talking with Dominic about this, but it would be a situation where in 2007, when we get the base, we just hit up him and JP and like, yo, we know that Josh is going pro. That's why he's not here. And we know that Steve's about to go pro, and that's why he's not here. But we could have possibly got Dominic and JP to join us at that time. Like that.
Yeah.
We wanted them to. That was part of the plan, I believe.
I don't remember even trying. I don't even
Yeah, no,
remember
there-
Dominic existing. I don't remember knowing him.
swear-
No, there were several times where Dom was there.
At least once.
At NWW Pittsburgh, he
No,
never showed
not
up.
at
No,
NWW
I mean I just mean on the base.
But I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
like
When it
talking
was
to
up
Quinn, like,
in-
dude, like, what about JP or this Dom dude? I knew who JP was, I think.
Right.
But
No, I feel like I never got hit up for that era.
Right.
Like, it definitely.
I think you were talked about. Like you, Josh,
Yeah.
JP, and Steve, we all wanted you guys to come back. Whether
Yeah.
one of you or all of you, like we wanted you guys back. At least I know I did. Maybe you just shut the idea down because you're like, they're not going to do it.
I might have done a little bit, but I would have deferred anything like that to Quinn because I didn't know them.
I want to
Remember
say
me saying anything like that to you?
Yeah, no, I 100% remember Dom being there at least one time up in the apartments.
No, he was eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In SWC times, like
Yeah.
later on, but during like the
We're saying, like,
2008.
this year.
So that was early on in 2009. We had another show out there called No Matter What, where it rained, and we just refused to not wrestle as
Almost there, no matter what.
right.
The occasion was the name.
Exactly.
It's like
no
you're
doubt
trying
about
to
it.
convince her not to stop.
The show that never happened was the show that happened. Yeah, and we like if we didn't have the plan to wrestle that day, but we did it anyway, Ed would call it unsanctioned. But like it's not part of the canon, so it's unsanctioned type deal.
I like it.
Yeah, right.
I would.
I
fuck with
forgot
that.
about that.
Right.
Yeah, that was a big thing. Yeah, you would always say, we're wrestling today. If you can't make it, it's cool. It's unsanctioned.
Right, yeah, it's
Hell yeah.
unsanctioned number 3 tonight. We're all wrestling each other, and it doesn't matter.
I'd show up, and you should be like, look at these videos. And there'd be like 10 videos, and you'd be like, they're all unsanctioned. Don't worry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like me and Ed would have very well been on the same page from that creation standpoint. It seemed like he was really into that.
Absolutely.
And
I took a lot of
Yeah.
joy in that.
That's what I like too.
And as far as that goes, I was definitely more on the Steve side. I wanted to make the music videos and post it to the internet and get noticed and
Yeah.
do shit. Like Ed did too, but like Ed was on the creative side of it and I was on the manufacturing side of it, you know?
he's like a hybrid. He's wrestling and I'm a creator.
Yeah.
And like you're kind of both,
Right.
in that
Yeah.
sense. It's just weird to think like what motivates you to do something like this, you know?
Right. While we're having these couple of shows early on in the year, we're realizing we're getting good. And this is where we kind of like run into GBYWN. And GBYWN was a different backyard wrestling forum that wasn't the Backyard Wrestling link. And I think I found it first. And whenever I found it, it was just like a free webs page. It wasn't anything like special, you know. It didn't have the same aura that the link had, but it had this dedicated group of people who all knew that they weren't good enough to be posting on the link, but didn't want to get shit on. They just wanted to have fun posting media with each other, right? So I convinced the guy that runs the thing to turn it into a forum, and my whole goal is I now want to post our shit to GBYWN because we could be the best on there. Like, we might not ever be good enough in the eyes of the link, but on GBYWN, that's where we could be the best. Like, and there wasn't a whole lot of competition at the time. It was just really whatever we were doing.
I remember having mixed emotions about that because I was like so obsessed with like being on the link.
You thought GBYWN was single A baseball, and the link was major leagues.
But isn't that where you met everybody?
Yes, exactly. That's where all of our actual friends that we met through wrestling, most of
what
them.
started the new era, really.
Right.
Well, yeah, you did that, and then slowly the link kind of just fizzled.
Joined in.
Yeah.
Well, fizzled and or joined in.
But at this time, I mean, there's nobody else to give credit to except for Hack Edgeman. Like, this guy ran our entire Fed. Everybody from the outside could probably see it, and they probably hated that it was him because he was the most annoying online, but he was the best wrestler. So what could you do about it? Nothing. This is the match where I realized that we were no longer almost there. We were finally good enough. Like, we weren't great. We weren't like somebody that people needed to pay to see. But when this match happened, I realized, like, we're good. We did it.
Individually,
Derek's the best match for sure.
No doubt.
I think at this point, individually, any of you could have showed up to any, in-ring match and produced,
Yeah, right. Like, if we would have been booked on a B-level indie show or something like that at the time.
Right.
So,
My Bubba Ray elbows.
yeah.
Those are great.
This match was proof in the pudding that not only is Ed already the best, but Derek was not so bad at the time either. Like, at the end of 2008, as soon as we strapped him up until this time, he was ready to do some pretty cool shit. He even was like, he was the only one of us that could do a 360 SSP. Like, how do you not know how to land on your back, but you could do a 360 SSP?
Makes no sense.
It was, yeah, improbable type shit.
Once everybody started getting their move set, and
That was another thing that helped because we were so all over the place.
Right. Once it was more like, all right, well, I'm going to do this as my finisher, so you really shouldn't do it. Like, it's not that you can't do it, but you really shouldn't do it as a general move. At least not in, right now kind of deal.
And it helps you, read your opponent better.
Right.
You can plan better matches.
Right, like throwing in, when you started doing the lariat,
Other people stopped, right? Yep.
Right. Doing that kind of thing. It just makes it easier to plan matches and not even plan them, but just have bullet points and just follow the progression of how a match should
be.
And I think, at the time it was still a race to a curb stomp, though. So as true as all that stuff was, everybody still did a curb stomp.
Well, that was because I think that was more of the lack of ropes. Don't forget,
we
it was like a flat dead move.
There was still a lot of hindrance that you can even see it. Even at this point, we still acted like we were bouncing off the ropes instead of just going and trying not to fall off the edge of the base.
Or rolling.
Rolling ended up being a good thing.
Right, or just turning around and running back at them. It was that
Dragon.
Throw at the ropes, you come after, bounce off the ropes. Now you have to go back towards the person and take a whatever that type of move would be called.
Right, yeah. So not only did we think that we were skilled enough to potentially be professional wrestlers.
Ooh, that was painful.
One of us actually tried to be.
Very short-lived.
Very short-lived, but one of us did try to be a professional wrestler. Now, this isn't a move that you would have been allowed to hit in CWF. Fuck you, Derek. I'm losing my mind, dude. I'm jumping all over this whole
I can't believe
match.
you let me do that.
Right, me neither. And the great thing about that is you teased that on 5/25/08. That was one of the first things you teased was like, I'm going to hit Derek with this. And it's like, no, you're fucked. And then here we are a whole year later and you're like title match against Derek trying to get your belt back. And then you hit the Arbo special.
Think about what you just said there. 1 year later.
Right.
1 year.
1 year.
That's all from the time we started watching these to now. 1 year.
1 year. Not even a year. Not even a year.
Insane.
Yeah. So this is where Ed gets strapped up.
Third time?
Third
Or
time.
no, second.
So I was doing...
I can't remember.
No, I was doing a rundown. And yeah, you're right, second. This is just going to play while we're talking here for a second. But I did a rundown. And the first ever champion was Quinn. He beat me day one of NWW. And Steve wrestled B-Cube that day. Second champion was me beating Quinn at the end of the year at the show you were at. And Steve took the title and left. So I stopped counting that legacy right there. That belt is the belt that Steve took. 5/25/08 happens.
Right? I didn't know he felt like that was a thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense, though.
So 5/25/08 happens, and I come out with the belt. So, but technically, I wasn't the champion.
The one that Steve had?
No, like a different one.
It was kind of like I'm not the champion, but I'm the champion.
Right, exactly.
Is it any of these?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
So nobody that legit can appoint me the champion gave me this, but
Right.
fuck y'all, I'm the champion.
Right.
Shit.
So I wasn't officially
That's
the
a
champ.
Mad Dog move.
So right. And so
Yeah.
the very first day I was the babyface, came out with that. Quinn won the belt off of me. That was the first official NWW Pittsburgh champion. So Quinn was the first one there. Lost it to you title tournament day. You lost it to Deke. Deke lost it back to you, and that's where we're at. So this is your second championship. I still have none. Quinn has one, and Deke has one. So Derek won the championship before I did. But it was on this day that I just realized we fucking got it, dude. It's in the bag. We figured it out. We know what we're doing.
And just so everybody knows, when he says we, he means Ed and himself.
Me and Ed have it.
Yeah, and I don't mean that as like a joke or
Right.
It's funny. It really is, but it's the God's honest truth. Like, y'all hung on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. And we kept working and kept fighting until we got to a point where we thought we were maybe good enough finally. Like we were
Stop stressing it.
Yeah,
just start
right.
having, like, we always had fun, but then we could really start just having fun again.
Right, because this is around the time period where we did that comedy triple threat match to fucking I'm on a boat, and then the Lemonade one with Jimmy P. Like we were just having a good old
we
time.
were saying fuck it, yeah.
And we were always talking about how fun it would be. Like the Link would have these super shows and put out comedy music videos, and it's like, how are you wasting these opportunities to make these videos? And like we're taking super seriously our one match with a 4-year-old kid as our referee. You know?
That's true.
The change to SWC started that.
Yeah, and the forum, the new forum, and being able to actually go on there and knocking shit on really changed the outlook.
Yeah, that made us a lot happier and less stressed about stupid shit.
And you still didn't like it though, but it changed the way that you looked at stuff.
I ended up loving it.
Right.
Yeah.
It gave everyone the avenue to be like, I want to try this.
Yes.
And it was more of a community on there
And just
rather than a
bashing each other.
Yeah, rather than a
Sounds
hierarchy.
like the link sucked, and this place was cool.
So
Sorry, guys.
you're good.
Go on, get on a little pee-pee now. Get on there. Get on in there.
Bang on roll,
So yeah,
bang
I mean
on.
the Link was good for certain things though, like because of how good the talent was there is the reason why Ed and I got as good as we did. So there was this guy on there, Jonathan Hitler, who great backyard wrestling name, who essentially would coach me and Ed from afar. Like he was the only person that like really wasn't a dick but trying to help us, you know, and he was really, really good too, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is,
Oh no,
You
I'm
followed
not.
Hitler.
I am not saying what you think I think I'm saying. He helped me and Ed to the point where we got to this point. Like, and honestly,
When I say the link sucks, I don't mean that they sucked.
right?
Because I'm sure I met a lot of them.
You did.
I just mean that it sounds like it sucked to be a part of that versus being a part of GBYWN.
Correct. Yeah. And I agree with that almost completely. And the biggest thing that I can say that's an issue, that's cool.
That's the point of it.
The biggest thing that was an issue that at the time we were mad about, but now it's like a good thing. The bullying worked. Like
Today's kids ain't tough.
Right.
That's the truth.
Right. Us getting bullied by people and wanting to get their approval is a giant factor in how we got as good as we ended up being.
yeah, but if you didn't have like the avenue and you were just going on a wrestling forum and didn't, have the love for it that you do,
Right.
But we would have never got
you know,
better. Like,
you never would have, like, that bullying would have shut your asses down. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like not being able to post on the link and get positive feedback, like honest feedback, is what I'm talking about.
Right.
Versus just getting shit on.
Right. I agree. So
You know,
like you had to have both.
Right. You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to have both.
Right.
Like you can't just have somebody shitting on you constantly because it's never going to get anywhere. And you can't just have people blowing smoke up your ass.
Right. Exactly.
well,
is
I'll never
why
forget the one time Scott Henson said something good about our match or your match, and it was like,
So that was BYS3. I still remember, like, it was a paragraph. I still remember every word.
And that was
It
after.
was really important to me.
That was after you switched to GBYWN.
Right. That is correct. Yeah.
Took that
Whenever
long,
you went
yeah.
into the community and all these people from the link started losing people from the link because you built more of a community to help raise up the rest of, the yarders.
Yep.
It from an outside perspective looking in at that, it looked like you guys were trying to bring people up because like y'all knew not everybody was going to go all the way,
No doubt.
but it was a numbers game.
Right.
You know, the more people we can get to do this, the more fun we can have right now.
100%. You
yeah.
couldn't be more right. Yeah. And like on top of that, the link would have like invite lists. So if you weren't cool enough, you
I
couldn't
forgot
come.
about that. That's so lame.
Right.
And we were like, please
Right,
come to
bro.
Pittsburgh.
I don't like the link at all.
When did
So this show, and as of right now, it's the last thing I have scheduled for us to talk about, but it's up to you guys if you want to roll into Ground Zero. This show is fucking hilarious. Do you remember this show? You have to.
This is when drama once again with Derek.
Derek and James.
They were getting sick of us, and they thought that they could have a match better than any match that we ever had.
Because any match that was ever looked at as good either had me or Ed or both of us in it.
they didn't care about technical wrestling.
No.
At
But
that
this
point,
was their
they-
attempt at it.
Well,
Right.
But what I'm saying is, at this point, you guys were getting into technical wrestling, and they were still looking
Jumping
for big
around
spots.
and doing stupid shit. Yeah.
Well, not stupid shit, but like there was no story.
Yeah.
Like, there was no progression of the match.
Right.
Yeah, true.
You know, and as much as you want to, you know, fight the fact that like it started out as fun, that just being in a sense being able to do it right and learning how to do it right made it funner because you could do more.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, true.
And so on this day, because they took this shit so seriously, right? They went over to the tree stand. Do you remember the tree stand?
I do.
They went over to the tree stand to practice this match. They had it all written down. They were hanging out for 2 days, figuring out their spots. And me and Ed's like, well, we did Rick versus Hack like 5 times this year, and every time they've gotten better, but we're trying to save the next one to be the one. So do you just want to do Rick Super Phoenix one last go time just to set up the show before they go out there and try to have their big match? Me and Ed just kind of threw out a banger. Like Super Phoenix versus Rick on that day. We were doing some really cool shit. And the move that I did to him to finish the match was the Hatchet Driver 1. And after the match, Ed said, you're never allowed to do that move to anybody else ever again. So I immediately had to come up with whatever the Hatchet Driver 2 was going to be. It's the only time that
Yeah,
move
you
ever
fucked
happened.
me up. That hurt my back super bad.
And I do, like in hindsight, I feel bad about it. At the time, I was just trying moves. Like I didn't know. We always did
it's
shit
just
to
too
each
hard
other.
to time the drop and the roll.
And I wasn't tall enough either. If I was taller, it would have been easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was Jimmy P and Derek's match attempt to upstage us. And yeah.
Horrible.
What else? I had to give them something, you know, a replay, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
This was a very tough day to be a fan. And it was at this point that it was pretty clear that me and Ed were the 2, and Deke and Jimmy P were the 3 and the 4. And we already knew that we were going to have Dominic soon. The next part of this is essentially where it all begins again. Like this is like the last official moment for me that I would consider it to be NWW Pittsburgh-esque. Like we were already calling ourselves SWC, but this last show was like, all right, we can't do this anymore. Like Jimmy P versus Deke is not it.
Right.
It was getting old fast.
Yeah, right.
And
Well, it's because it
Dom
was
wrestled like the next show, right?
The
it was
very
May, I
next
believe.
show after this, yeah.
I remember we picked him up somewhere, and
So hold on.
I don't know if you want to get into this episode. But
Well, this specific story, since we're already right here and you're here, we might as well just run this one.
yeah, and like, yeah,
Is this my first match? I thought my first match was versus Adrian or Deke.
So that's exactly. So at the time,
you.
no, Derek changed his name to Adrian Grimm.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, right. Derek changed his name to Adrian Grimm.
not gonna lie, that's not a bad wrestling name.
It's not. It's fine.
Better than Deke the Freak.
It's definitely better than
Yes.
the Freak.
Yeah, it's better.
And me and Ed we're ready. It's fucking go time. You know, like this is the opportunity that's put in front of us to finally have people care about what we're trying to do here. So we get Dominic. And I don't exactly remember the first conversations we had. I'm sure it was on AIM. This was after music. Like I'd already borrowed a microphone from you.
Yeah.
I talked to you and I'm like, hey, motherfucker, you want to come back and wrestle? And you're like, I guess. And I'm like, that's dope because Steve is already planning on it and JP and all them. Like everybody's coming back to wrestle. But at the time, nobody knew that Steve was coming back to wrestle. We knew that he was coming back to be a part of it. But they don't know, right? So like Josh was going to come back and JP was going to come back. And then Dominic didn't even need to hear that whenever he said yes. I was just like, hey, we're doing this. You want in? Yeah, I'm down. And then cool, everybody's back then. So he comes back and wrestles Adrian Grimm. What was your first impression of what you saw here this day, to your memory?
I honestly don't know because it's the only thing I remember the most about this day was telling him to hit me with the sign and then what preceded that. Like that's my biggest memory of this. But like I've seen this footage.
Yeah,
and
right.
I know, like, but I don't know. I
don't
definitely
really remember the day.
Yeah, I definitely can say I don't think I was uncomfortable. I mean, I'm looking around. I'm looking at the people. Who would I be there with that I knew besides like you guys.
On this specific day, so JP and Josh and Steve all showed up this day.
I was gonna say I thought
forgot
other people
about
were
that.
there.
But I don't think that they were here yet. I think that you showed up to wrestle and you wrestled Derek.
Yeah.
And then they showed up after that.
That was probably my only concern, was wrestling someone I was meeting same day. I think that was probably awkward for me, but that's what led to the organic moment that we had in this match. So
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's worth it.
And you came in already like knowing how to do stuff, which is great because we really needed that at the time.
Bumping like a motherfucker.
It's funny
Right.
because like I didn't have like any of the in between stuff. I just figured I'm older now and I could probably do this.
Right. Yeah. And like having the 3
Yeah.
years trampoline experience and our 0 years doing anything was a big difference.
Yeah, yeah.
You were in pretty good shape too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was
wrestled on a base before.
This was a time in my life where I felt like I could physically do this stuff. I just wasn't as willing.
If I
for
remember
certain
correctly, didn't you go to a show or something with Steve or whatever that you actually wrestled in a ring?
No, but I'll have to think about this. But I
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, I know we built like a cage, but it's hard to remember so many things. I love that move. That was a fun one.
So here at the end of the match,
You have the clip on its own, like with the audio, and I just love hearing whoever say "What the fuck."
that's Ed.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
always Ed.
It's amazing. So here it is.
I'm trying.
I tell this boy to hit me hard, like real hard, right? And that's gonna
after the match.
yeah, that's gonna be the end.
This is the end of the match.
And he doesn't hit me hard enough, so I kick out, and I'm like, "Yo, I really want you to fucking fuck me up."
Would you have told him to hit you that hard?
I mean, you can hear it. I am smiling. You can see a smile on my face if you
Got
look.
that reaction.
Yeah, just listen to the second hit. You'll understand because even he throws the sign down with more rage because he knew he fucked me up.
Yep.
He was like, "All right, fuck you." Bro, and every sign I ever owned, I had a no dogs allowed sign, a no parking sign, some other one. They all disappeared for some reason, and I think somebody somewhere didn't want me getting hit in the head anymore. Because if there was one thing I was willing to do, it was use my forehead.
All right, Ed.
It was worth it.
The Lenny Bud Memorial, bro.
Why is this a Mid-Atlantic title match?
So this was whenever I was getting heavy into GBYWN, and they wanted to appoint a GBYWN Mid-Atlantic Championship.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And I told the dude that was running it, I'm like, look, me and my boy are having this crazy match, and if you want the title to have a good first match, then fucking we'll do it. And he's like, all right, I'm down. So
Can we talk about the beginning of this? Or
Yes,
no?
absolutely. So let's wait a second here. So right there, if you look at Ed's left butt cheek, you might happen to spy a little smudge of something. Looks white or brown, what have you.
I didn't shit my pants.
He did not shit his pants. No. That's mud. And, like, why would you start a match with mud on your pants? Like, you just wash them before we wrestle, right? Like, you didn't fall coming to the ring. No. It's because this was filmed the next day. The whole beginning of this match, we didn't have enough battery on the camera to get through the whole match.
I couldn't remember why.
Yeah, and so we had the entire match and started the filming right here at this spot. Watch the referee appear in the background. Look, so this is the previous day now. No smudge on Ed's ass cheek.
This is the real live match.
Right.
And who would know?
We know we didn't have enough battery to fucking get through it all, so we just went out the next day, refilmed the beginning, and just did what we could on the day.
I would never notice.
Right. Nobody ever did until right now. I'm blowing the spot up.
Did you get the? I have this on VHS.
You
There's
do.
the other cameraman.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's I believe Dominic is filming this match.
Why is the base the way it is at this point?
In
Oh,
what
we
ma-
lowered it.
Yeah,
we never talked about that.
Right, so we ended up lowering the base because it was too unstable to be double layered.
It kept
Okay.
fucking shifting and
Yep.
rolling off
gonna
and
say,
shit. The
at some
wood was
point-
going everywhere.
Yep.
At some point, wasn't there like an entire sheet of plywood just like almost all the way out of it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why all the tires that we had left over made a pile over on the side, and we used it to make the entranceway and
Okay,
shit.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So this match is this is good. This is very good. You hear a lot of Steve in the background, but nobody knew what his voice sounded like at the time, so I was able to leave that in the video. This is where the mud came from.
Oh, holy fuck. Y'all were just so willing that even though it took a few extra movements, you're like, fucking do it.
Yep. Yep.
We're doing
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I am filming.
We talked about how this was our chance, like not only for the internet, but you guys were all there for the first time. Like,
How come no one else wrestled?
because there's always a little more to the story. Ed. Fucking, we got to do the CTK angle. You know, this was all part of the angle.
For real?
Yeah. Dominic showed up first, and he came in to have an opportunity to win the championship. Like, that was his whole goal. That's what he talks about his whole time.
Is that who I fought? The champion? In the moment? He wouldn't have been
Derek
the
was
champion.
the champion.
No,
No,
you were.
I was going to say, I didn't think he was. I felt like I was fighting a jobber.
Right. He had just lost the belt.
But I did lose, so.
We were going all out this day, dude. Like, we just couldn't fail. It wasn't allowed.
I like your
Yep.
the leg sticking.
I remember
There's
you
JP.
telling me whenever you learned how to do a backflip.
Uh-huh. Oh!
So are you using both mine and JP's angles?
For this match is literally just Steve's angle.
Oh, okay. So there's 3 angles of this.
That's
being
what I
filmed.
thought too, yeah.
Unless
I didn't realize
gave
there was
that
3
to him.
cameras.
RKO.
Look at Schultz's pussy ass fucking counts.
What are you guys gonna do here?
We're going to do the spot.
Oh
that-
my god, I forgot about this.
This is okay. It looks a little.
Kabe
safer.
stole this.
No,
later.
no, this is rough. Yeah.
Yep.
Strongest picnic table ever, by the way.
Oh, for
It
sure.
really, it's probably still intact.
It probably is.
They took it out of there.
So that was an incredible moment. And while Dominic brings that up, I have to talk about the picnic table was the MVP, dude.
It was.
Of
We
the
ate
whole
Burger King on
federation?
Of
it.
everything, yeah. Like, okay, go back there. You want to smoke a blunt? Where are you sitting?
Picnic table.
Right.
Table, yeah.
You get Burger King, you take it back to the ring. What are you doing?
Picnic table.
Yeah, you bring up your gallon of iced tea in the boombox to play our entrance theme. Where's it going?
Picnic table.
Right. You get a ladder from the garbage and you bring it into the woods to play a game with it. What's the only way that game works?
The picnic table.
Exactly. And it not only did it serve all those purposes for us, we bumped on that fucking thing like there was no tomorrow. Like, we fucked that picnic table
Yeah,
up
that-
for years,
that-
dude.
That picnic table, it really had multiple purposes.
And I think it gave us personality that other places didn't have. You know, but GBYWN loved this match. Like, I remember a lot of the shit. That's where I became known. Like, people were like, oh, the fucking Sick Rick dude from Pittsburgh and the Beast No dude from Ohio and the fucking X-Cal dude from Indiana and Matt DeMorris from New Jersey and PJ Matthews
Yeah, that
from
shit
New
was
York.
fucking crazy in the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, for a while, too. But
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that that's what's going on for you two.
Yes.
While I'm there filming, I have no idea about
Right.
any of this. Like, I am so just there to be there. I probably drove over with JP. Like,
No, we picked you up from the laundromat and
I
Ed
remember
wasn't
that.
wearing a
Oh,
shirt.
that makes a lot of sense.
And you
I was-
said the first thing that you thought was, who's that weird looking redhead not wearing a shirt just staring at me?
oh my god, I now can picture looking out the window.
Yep.
You just unfolded a little. Okay.
You're
Wow.
welcome for that.
That's wild. Yeah, I guess that is how it went. Thanks for picking me up.
So at this point, it's essentially NWW Pittsburgh has come to an end and we're full on SWC. This is the first day where it's like really fucking real. And this is the start of
Caden Angel is nowhere to be found.
where was Caden Angel?
Yep, gone.
But in a funny way, this was purposely on the same date, but it was the start of the next era on the same date, 5/25. Right?
Yeah,
This is 5/25.
No, this is for something. This is
Lenny Bud?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to cut that out.
No, I'm not.
I thought
I
that
get
was
to edit whatever
5/25. I
want.
thought we
That gets to hang
purposely
out.
waited or something. I guess I was wrong.
No, I think what you're thinking of is I think we purposely waited till 5:25 to start Ground Zero.
Okay.
yeah, I'm almost
Which
positive
was the
that's
name
what
of
it
the
was.
episode?
And that's
Because you were at that, right?
Ground
I
Zero.
believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were running Ground Zeros then. Like at this time, we had run Mad Ground Zeros then. That's wild. 5/25 the next year wasn't even a show. It was like Ground Zero 4 and then Ground Zero 5 a month later.
Well, are we gonna get on all this when we're all together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get more on this later, but for now, this is, I think, the best place for us to end.
Yeah.
We have Dominic showing up.
Word.
We have fucking me and Ed on top of the world. Next episode after this is going to be the build to BYS1. We're going to talk about the ground zero, probably 1 through 7 or wherever. Like, it looks like 7. 1 through 7 was the ground zero build to BYS1. And so we'll talk about all that, and we'll talk about BYS1 at that time, which all of us wrestled on, and it was a crazy fucking 4 days of nonsense. Like, it was insane. But this was our baby. Like, the three of us was what we talked about tonight. And you can only talk about so much in a couple hours whenever we did this shit for a year and a half. And we ran into a similar situation with ETW where it's just so much to talk about. But I think that we had a great time. Had a ton of fun with you two specifically.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this was a great time for sure.
Yeah, and like, it's hot as balls in this room. I'm sweating my ass off, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I lost 5 pounds, which clearly I can use. And I mean, essentially, that's going to be it for this episode, right? We're just going to roll on out of here, and I'm going to let Ed end this with a fuck off. Fuck off. Golden Triangle Media out.